Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy and horror film called Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. One night, a reporter and her cameraman sneak into a sawmill where a gruesome crime occurred. When the reporter enters a dark room, a man with a burnt face hits her head with a bat. The cameraman runs, but the man chases after him and kills him. 3 days earlier, college students Allison, Chad, Chloe, Jason, Naomi, Chuck, Todd, Mike, and Mitch head to the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. As they drive, two strange men stare at them from their car, making the girls feel uncomfortable. However, they shrug this off and stop by a store. Chad and Allison head inside to buy beer, but they spot one of the strange men from the road buying peculiar items, including a scythe. While Chad gets the beer, Allison takes bug spray from the shelf but finds the other strange man staring at her from the other side. She backs away in fear until Chloe finds her. The two strange men, Tucker and Dale, later watch the college friends pack. As Dale enjoys a jar of pickled eggs, he stares at Allison in awe, so Tucker encourages him to talk to her. After a long pep talk, he decides to talk to her while remembering Tucker's tip to smile and laugh. With the scythe in hand, Dale approaches the group, smiles and laughs. This makes him seem like a psycho killer, so Chad threatens him to back off. The friends then hurriedly leave. Dale thinks the girls were just appalled by his face. During their drive, a police car tails them, making Tucker spill his drink on his pants. As they pull over, Dale wipes off the beer from Tucker's pants, so the officer sees him getting up from Tucker, giving him the wrong impression. The officer asks where they're headed, so Dale notes that they're headed to the fixer-upper vacation home in Morris Lake. The officer warns them that the place is nothing but pain, then reprimands them for their broken turn signal. Shortly after, they arrive at the cabin, and despite it being ruined, they think it's perfect. Inside, the cabin is covered in cobwebs with bones hanging from the ceiling. They also find the newspaper clippings about murder cases on the walls, though Tucker only notices the chili dog coupon pinned among them. Tucker leans on one of the beams and it falls apart. Luckily, Dale saves him before he gets hit by a piece of wood with protruding nails. Elsewhere, the friends set up camp in the middle of the woods, and Chad tells them the story about the Memorial Day massacre 20 years ago. In the same woods, a group of college students gathered when a man appeared and threw a blade at one of the students. Seeing this, everyone ran for their lives, but one of the girls failed to escape, letting the man stab her with a machete. Another girl hid in the woods, but the man found her and struck her with a pickaxe. According to Chad, only one person lived to tell the tale. To break the tension, the friends suddenly decide to go skinny dipping in the lake. Coincidentally, Tucker and Dale are out fishing in the same lake. Allison stays at the camp and checks on her things when she hears movement in the woods. Suddenly, Chad appears, scaring her. He starts expressing how they're meant to be together and forces himself on her, but Allison dismisses him and joins the others. Back in the lake, the rest of the group gets in the water. Tucker wants to watch them, but Dale is embarrassed, so they paddle in opposite directions, making their boat turn around. Then, they spot Allison undressing. As she slowly climbs down, she sees them, screams, and falls into the water. Tucker gets pissed about the ruined moment, but they realize that Allison hasn't come out of the water yet. Dale jumps in to save her and puts her on the boat. However, the rest witness this and get scared, thinking that they're abducting her. This confuses Tucker and Dale, so they decide to take Allison to their cabin. The others alert Chad of what happened, so he grabs an axe and heads to the lake, only to see Tucker and Dale rowing away. The next day, Allison wakes up with a bandage on her head. Suddenly, Dale arrives carrying her breakfast, but Allison screams in horror. Dale quickly concludes that she hates pancakes, so he decides to prepare something else. Elsewhere, the group looks for Allison while Chuck goes to the police. Jason finds the cabin, but they hesitate to go inside. Meanwhile, Dale prepares bacon and eggs for Allison, adding flowers to decorate the tray. Allison asks why she's there, so Dale awkwardly tells her about the accident. Allison accuses him of spying on them, which Dale denies, explaining that they were just fishing. Dale shares that her friends ran off, so they brought her to the cabin, hoping that her friends would pick her up. Because of this, Allison realizes that Dale has pure intentions, so they get acquainted and play board games. Outside, the rest of the group decides who should raid the place, and Mitch gets the honors. At the same time, Tucker is sawing a log at the back, unaware that a hive is inside. When he cuts it, bees come out, so Tucker runs around with the chainsaw and screams like a madman. The group is frightened by this and they immediately spread in different directions, but Tucker and Mitch run into the same area. Mitch catches a glimpse of Tucker's eyes and accidentally impales him on a broken tree, killing him while Tucker continues running, unaware of what happened. Meanwhile, Dale impresses Allison during their game and he explains that he has a good memory. However, Dale still thinks he's a fool, though Allison assures him that he's not. Curious, Dale asks what she studies, so Allison notes that she's in psychology. She tells him about her dream of fixing conflicts brought on by a lack of communication. Tucker returns with red spots all over his face, blaming him for getting distracted by Allison and leaving the work to him. As Dale pulls out the stingers from his face, Tucker tells Allison that her friends are outside. When she insists on meeting them, Dale tells her to rest while he and Tucker find them. Outside, the friends find Mitch's body. They immediately conclude that the corpse is left there as a warning. When the girls want to either call for help or get away, Chad insists that it's now a battle for survival, scaring his friends. They hear Tucker and Dale arrive, so they hide and listen in on their conversation. Dale talks about beating Allison, but Tucker complains about his time with her, so Dale promises to finish when they get back. Unaware that Dale is talking about the board game, Allison's friends think she's going to be killed. Not noticing Mitch's body, the two find Chad's axe and start calling out to the friends. When they don't respond, Dale suggests carving a message for them. Later on, the group finds the message but misinterprets it as the two holding Allison hostage. Back in the cabin, Tucker loads some logs into the wood chipper while Allison helps Dale dig an outhouse hole. Her friends witness this and assume that they're making her dig her own grave, so Chad tells everyone to attack and save her. With a wooden spear in hand, Todd runs towards Dale, but Allison pushes Dale to safety. She accidentally gets hit with a shovel and falls unconscious. Dale falls into the outhouse hole, and Todd drops in, impaling himself with the spear. Meanwhile, Chloe, Naomi, and Mike surround Tucker. Mike attempts to charge at Tucker with a pocket knife, but he accidentally throws himself into the wood chipper. Tucker desperately tries to save him while the machine spits blood on Chloe's face. After this horrifying and confusing event, Dale brings the unconscious Allison inside the cabin and Tucker follows. The men are puzzled about why the students are killing themselves and Dale starts crying. Tucker theorizes that the friends purposely came to the woods to end their lives. Dale suggests reporting to the police, but Tucker knows that the situation would turn on them. Elsewhere, Jason, Naomi, and Chloe discuss leaving, but Chad insists on killing Tucker and Dale. While the others are scared, Chad is empowered by the situation. Suddenly, they hear a car approaching, and it's Chuck and the sheriff. Hysterically, Chloe stops the car and screams the horrifying events into the sheriff's face, so they immediately head to the cabin. Meanwhile, Chad hides in the woods, disappointed in them. Just after Tucker and Dale remove Todd's body from the wood chipper, the sheriff arrives. Desperately, the two tell the sheriff that the students just started killing themselves, adding that the others might be planning to kill Allison, who's in Dale's room, unconscious. The sheriff demands to see Allison, but Jason, Chuck, Naomi, and Chloe panic. Inside, the sheriff finds that Allison is alright, but he tells Tucker and Dale that they're not getting out of the situation unscathed. He then leans into the loose beam, causing it to fall apart and accidentally hits him in the forehead with many nails. The sheriff tumbles outside and the friends scream from the car. Despite the injury, the sheriff tries to make a call, but he dies just outside his car. Pressured, Chuck takes the sheriff's gun and aims it at Tucker and Dale. However, as he tries to figure out how to use it, he accidentally shoots himself. Chad appears from the woods, grabs the gun, and starts shooting the men. This forces Tucker and Dale to hide back in the cabin. While on the floor, Tucker starts lashing out about how Dale's sympathy led them to that situation. At the height of Dale's anger, he screams that he hates fishing. Tucker falls silent, and Dale quickly apologizes for hurting his feelings. However, Chad starts shooting again, and they hear their dog, Jangers, whimper outside. As Dale peeks out of the window, he finds Chad holding Jangers hostage. Worried about their dog, Tucker loads a nail gun and tells Dale to shoot while he runs for the back door to save Jangers. Dale does as he's told and even enjoys scaring the students with the nail gun. Chad shoots back but runs out of bullets. Tucker successfully sets Jangers free, but Chad sees him, so everyone chases him into the woods. However, Chad finds him and knocks him out. Later on, Tucker gains consciousness and realizes that he's tied upside down. He pleads with the friends to let him go, but Chad slices his hand with the axe, and Tucker screams in pain. Back at the cabin, Allison wakes up and sees Dale beside her. She notices the blood on his arm, and Dale breaks down in tears. Confused, he asks her if her friends forgot to take their medication because they're all acting crazy. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door, and Dale shudders into a corner. Although he tries to stop her from going out, Allison reassures him that she'll sort out the misunderstanding. Outside, Allison is shocked upon seeing the corpses on the ground. She notices something wrapped in a cloth, so she picks it up and brings it inside. Upon seeing it, Dale immediately recognizes that it's part of Tucker's clothes. To their horror, they find two of Tucker's severed fingers and a note that dares them to come and rescue him. Dale decides to go and save his friend, but Allison tells him not to escalate the situation. She suggests that her friends must have thought that they were trying to harm her. When Dale asks why they would think that, Allison is forced to tell the harsh truth. She confesses that they thought Tucker and Dale were creepy back on the road. Hearing this, Dale leaves with a heavy heart. Dale goes into the woods and finds Tucker's cap on the ground. When he looks up, he finds Mitch's impaled body. Dale is horrified by the sight, but he continues looking for Tucker. A few moments later, he finds his friend hanging upside down on a tree, but as he walks closer, Tucker warns him that there's a trap. Suddenly, a wooden spear flies towards Dale, almost impaling his crotch. Thankfully, he's unharmed and releases Tucker. Back at the cabin, Chad and Naomi sneak in and find Allison alone. Allison tells her friend that everything is a misunderstanding. However, Chad just drenches the cabin with gas, insisting on burning it down. Allison yells for him to stop and insists that Tucker and Dale don't mean to harm them. Because of this, Naomi accuses Allison of having Stockholm Syndrome and falling in love with her captors. Jealous, Chad raises his axe at Allison, but Tucker and Dale barge into the cabin. Before a fight breaks out, Allison asks the men to sort out everything over a cup of tea. She sits Chad and Dale at the table while Tucker gets a beer. As Allison pours the tea, Chad expresses that he can't have chamomile because it triggers his asthma, but she assures him that it's Earl Grey. Allison urges them to tell their story so they can understand each other, so Chad starts. He reveals that his parents were victims of the Memorial Day massacre. That day, a group of hillbillies like Tucker and Dale burned his father alive. His mother, who was pregnant with Chad, managed to fight back and became the lone survivor. After Chad was born, his mother was institutionalized. Meanwhile, Jason and Chloe arrive outside the cabin as Chad instructs them to wait. They peek through the window and are puzzled to see a calm situation. Still, Jason is convinced that his friends are trapped. Back inside, Allison urges Dale to share, and he immediately expresses his condolences to Chad's parents. He justifies that he has nothing to do with what happened to them, so he shouldn't be held responsible. Suddenly, Jason barges in with a grass mower and launches at Tucker. However, Tucker ducks in time and Naomi, who's standing behind him, gets harmed instead. Chad takes the opportunity to flip the table, trapping Dale. He swings his axe at him, but Allison stops him, so he smacks her in the face. Because of this, Tucker punches Chad. Chad furiously throws a lamp to the floor, but Jason catches on fire as he stepped on the gas he spilled. Chloe tries to help him by pouring water from a jar, but it turns out that it's gas too. The flames engulf Jason and the stress overwhelms Chloe, so she sits down and draws out a cigarette to smoke. Seeing the hopeless situation, Tucker, Dale, and Allison run out of the cabin while Chad gets pulled by Naomi, who's still alive. Suddenly, the place explodes and Tucker and Dale's hearts break as they watch their beloved cabin burn. Suddenly, Chad emerges from the debris with his half-burnt face. He takes a big breath from his inhaler before screaming in his most unhinged state. Tucker, Dale, and Allison frantically get into a truck and flee into the woods. However, they crash into a tree. When Dale wakes up, he finds Tucker injured since he tried to stop Chad from taking Allison. Guilty, Dale regrets ever talking to Allison and causing the whole mess. Tucker recounts when they were catching frogs as kids. Tucker let Dale catch more frogs since he pitied him, but now he confesses that Dale caught more because he was quicker. Tucker assures him that Dale is better than he thinks of himself, and Allison sees it in him too. This encourages Dale to rescue the girl of his dreams, and with the help of Jangers, he tracks down Allison at a sawmill. There, Chad ties up Allison and forcibly kisses her, insisting that he's saving her. However, Dale breaks through the locks and gears himself up. Chad heads to the control room to turn on the saw bench, so Dale hurriedly tries to untie Allison as the blade draws nearer. Before he could free Allison, Chad suddenly attacks him. Dale fights back, and an intense battle ensues. Dale throws an axe, freeing Allison while he and Chad fight until Dale throws a chainsaw at Chad. While Chad is distracted, Allison and Dale lock themselves on the second floor. As they search for weapons to defend themselves, they discover a newspaper revealing that Chad's father is the culprit of the Memorial Day massacre. Suddenly, Chad breaks in, and Dale reveals to him the truth about his father. However, Chad refuses to believe this, so Dale throws a box of chamomile at his face, giving him an asthma attack. Though Dale thinks his inhaler can save him, Chad ends up falling out of the building. Later that night, the police and a news reporter broadcast the deaths of the college kids, though the reporter notes that Chad, who they've identified as the killer, hasn't been found. Meanwhile, Tucker is recovering in a hospital and the doctors stitched his fingers back on, though one of them has red nail polish. Dale visits him and gives him a beer. Before leaving, Dale happily shares that he's going bowling with Allison. While bowling, Dale gives Allison a pink helmet since she always gets herself knocked out. He then tries to confess his feelings, but seeing him struggling, she kisses him and tells him she feels the same way for him.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.